Hey there, my friends. Today we're going to be talking about fixed. When something is not broken, we'll analyze like a table, or variable, where things will change. They'll either go down or up depending on outside circumstances. So if you think of fixed as in not broken, then it would be balanced, like a table slash teeter-totter. Vari Variable comes from the root word vary, meaning changing. So help your students find that out. The other problem comes from a stem and leaf plot, where when they lay out the numbers, they place them in order from least to greatest on the stem, from lowest to highest. So if you think of having horse fights in the water, you want the bigger numbers on the bottom, the bigger people with more weight on the bottom, and the lighter weights on the top. And then when you move over to the other side, to the right side over here, the leaf, they, regardless of the way that the numbers are presented, they present those in increasing order, also from on the other side of the dividing line, from least to greatest. So let's probably make the lesson come to life by using an actual teeter-totter table to help your kids understand what fixed versus variable expenses are, because number 15 in the fourth grade test this past year only had 37%. That means only 1/3 of the kids. So if you start with the root word vary, when you think of vary, not VERY, but VARY, we talk about change. Okay. So when the question said which expenses were variable expenses, which expenses changed during the 3 months, well, when I looked at rent, there was no change for the 3 months. Water, it changed. It went down and it went back up. Electricity, it went down and then it went down again. Cable, it stayed. So if I was to ask you which expenses were the fixed expenses, which one stayed the same? If the table is not slanted, it's balanced, it stays the same. Those objects on the table would stay in the same place. And just for fun, we'll add 3 little circles, one for each month, that they're, regardless of the month, those are going to stay the same. So this would be January, February, and March. The ones that were variable, the ones that vary and change, are the only ones that are left, the water and the electricity. So our answer is going to be letter A. And I always like to double check. Let me show you, that's number 15 on the fourth grade math. There's 15. And so it's only 37% of the kids got it correct. But what I noticed was that this is a fourth grade question, and maybe I need to check this, because if you look at them, if you look at number 15 on here, and I'll double check this to make sure I didn't put in the wrong number. Number 15, it has an open-ended because these two are missing. So if it's number 14, it was 50%, 57% that chose A, and sorry, 51, 14, 56% chose A, which is the correct answer. 23% chose C, the rent and the cable, and the rent and the cable were the ones that were variable. So I think all I did was I marked the wrong number because number 16 is the one that's open-ended. So I'll go ahead and make sure I do that one on my next video, and I'll change this to this one here to a 14 uh, on my sheet because I believe that's where it came from. But that's how I would represent that. The other one that you should look that gave your kids a lot of trouble was number 26. And as I mentioned, on a stem and leaf plot, they place the numbers in order from least to greatest, and what we're going to call here the tens spot, the tens place, and the hundreds place, this one. Then there's a wall separating, and they place the numbers in the ones place also in order. If a specific number happens to be there more than once, like 89 is there twice, you'll see there's an 89 there and there, then they just write them twice. So that what happened was the kids did not know how to go from which number goes in the box, the number that was missing. And so when I looked at the numbers that were in the 90s, because 9 line 8 means 98 and 0 tenths, because 98 is a whole number. The numbers that are there in order are a 92, 95, and two 98s. So when you check off the list, there's the 95, the 98, and the 98. Okay. So the number that's missing is the 2. But what happened was your kids had to know how to take the number that was missing and place it in the right place on a place value chart, because that shaded box has a decimal in it. And so since 92 is 9 10s and 2 1s, they would have had to write the number on the answer because it was open-ended like this. So when you look at number 26 on the, again, open-ended, only got 37% correct. And when I looked at number 26, these are the ones that were the most difficult. It got the answer was 2. So now that I look back and see number 15, the answer was 1 and 8 tenths. So that fixed and variable, even though it wasn't the one with the most incorrect answers, it was one that I felt like we could practice because it was in the 50s. I'm going to practice all the ones in the 50s. So what we'll do is the real number 15 is 1 and 8 tenths, which is only which only 37% of the students got correct. And again, we live in an open-ended world until we get into classrooms where it becomes multiple choice. And so if you look at my first questions here, normally the ones with the lowest percentages are open-ended, but this year the 3 lowest performing were multiple choice, and then the next 2 number 15, which we'll look at in the next video, and number 26 were open-ended, where your kids had to just go and put a 2 and 0 tenths on a place value chart. And so if you have my folder, then the kids would have written the numbers. There's my 98, and this could be done with graph paper. All I have to do is take lined paper that goes this way and then make your own place value chart. And in your where your lines stop, where the red line is, you can put a decimal right there, because there's always the margin that's on the right and the left. So there's the 98. It's already represented. The 95 is there. The 98 is there. And the 92 is not there. So what they were asking was, what's the number that goes in the box? So the answer would have had to have been 2, but 2 in the ones place, because that's where that represents. And the kids, when they saw all of those boxes, they didn't understand that they all represented whole numbers and decimals, and in this case it was tenths and hundredths. So that's how I would do that one. What I'll come back and next and do is I'll go ahead and see what this was, number 14, fixed and variable, and I'll write that right there so that you can put that somewhere, and maybe have your kids make a chart that shows variable, what variable looks like, where things go up and down, versus fixed, that regardless of what month or what day or whatever, it always stays the same. It's not going to be on a rising or falling scale, or in this case, balance, teeter-totter, seesaw. So that's how I'd recommend that you do those two. My next video, I'll go ahead and look at number 14 for you and see what was it that gave your kids so much struggle with that one.